guys, welcome to another episode of Records Near Me. This time I'll be talking about Jerry's Records, located in the historic Squirrel Hill neighborhood in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The store is currently owned by Chris Grauzer, and we'll hear from him later, but in order to understand the legacy of this shop, we have to learn about the man who started it all, Jerry Weber. Jerry first started selling records in the 1970s with his friend and fellow mailman, Jim Petruzzi, in a place they called the Record Graveyard, located above their friend's bar. It wasn't until 1985 that Jerry quit his job at the post office and opened up his own store. Jerry's moved to its current location at 2136 Murray Avenue in 1994, and it may not look it from the outside, but this place is massive. It's 13,000 square feet of space filled to the brim with records, boasting the title of the world's largest all-vinyl record store, with somewhere around 1 million records inside. The place can seem very overwhelming at first. It's so big you could easily get lost in there, so make sure to carve out a lot of time to check the place out, especially if it's your first time visiting. And come with an open mind, because they only sell used records, so you won't find any new releases, and there's no guarantee they'll have the exact album you're looking for. You never know what they'll have in stock, and their inventory is constantly changing, but trust me, there's absolutely no shortage of options. And if you can't find something you like among 1 million records, well, do you even like music? Despite the unbelievable amount of records at Jerry's, the place is very well organized. Records are separated by genre, there's even a whole room dedicated just to jazz, and then by artist. And you'll find just about every genre you can imagine. That's because Jerry truly loved all kinds of music, so much so that he would buy just about anything to prevent records from being thrown in the dumpster. That's probably how he ended up on shows like Hoarders and Pack Rats. But the man was a collector, and he was really good at it. Jerry's Records was, and still is, very loved in the Pittsburgh community. Even the couple that hosted me in their Airbnb recalled that they had sold some old records to Jerry at some point. Mac Miller took us inside Jerry's Records when visiting his hometown on his show Mac Miller and His Most Dope Family. May he rest in peace. And in 2010, Rolling Stone magazine included Jerry's on their list of best record stores in the USA. Jerry's Records is well known, well loved, and well stocked, and if that doesn't convince you to want to visit, I'm not sure what will. Now, in 2017, Jerry retired, and he sold his store to his longtime trusted employee, Chris Grauzer, in order to have 2 knee replacements. Can you imagine a world where Jerry wasn't selling records? Me either. His retirement didn't last long, because after a couple of years, he started selling records again from his personal warehouse on weekends, with about 50,000 records for sale, out of the 250,000 records in his collection. Just a slight step down. Sadly, Jerry Weber passed away in January of this year at the age of 73. I never met the man, though I wish I could have, because he seemed like a really cool guy. This episode is dedicated to Jerry, whose legacy lives on through his store, and Chris Grauzer is doing a good job running the store now, so let's hear from him about his role as the current owner of Jerry's Records.
Records near me, let's go and see what lies behind a record store's mind. If you're lost, get found, take in the sound. It's the place to go when you're feeling low. So, if you don't mind, I'll share what we find. I'll make a podcast, so all this will last. If you're lost, get found, take in the sound. It's the place to go, so let's start the show.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Records Near Me. Today I'm joined by Chris Grauzer, owner of Jerry's Records right here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So, Chris, how are you doing today?
I'm alright. And you?
I'm good. So, tell me, when did you start working at Jerry's Records?
So, I think I started in 2009 or 2010. Yeah.
Okay. And what were you doing before you started working here?
So when I started here, it was just a day a week, and I was actually working at a bakery full time.
Okay.
But it's half a block away, and I pretty much come here on a daily basis and talk to everyone. Other than that, I delivered auto parts for a while, a couple driving jobs, customer service stuff, worked at a bookstore for a while. Just mostly customer service stuff, I guess.
Okay, so you've been working here for a while, and then in 2017, Jerry retired, right?
Correct.
So what made you decide to buy it? Had you been wanting to for a while, or is this something you've always wanted to do?
So, yeah, I actually, me and a friend of mine were planning on opening our own store. Mm-hmm. I'd even gotten to the point where I found a building and we were kind of rehabbing it for that purpose.
Okay.
But it was a pretty small, small space. And actually, during that process, Jerry started talking about retiring. And, then it was like, okay, well, go with the sure thing or start my own small store. So I was like, I'd be an idiot not to take over Jerry's. I mean, I didn't want it to, I don't know. Yeah, honestly, I don't know what would have happened to it if I didn't buy it. I mean, part of me thinks he maybe wouldn't have retired in the end, but I certainly didn't want it to just close or for all the inventory to be sold to, so yeah, it was a decision, but it, in the end, it wasn't that hard. I mean, I decided to just go with the, sure thing that in a place that I love and wanted to continue. So.
Yeah. All right. So Jerry's been doing this for over 40 years. Was it intimidating to take over, or were you just ready for it?
No. I mean, I was apprehensive. Yeah. I mean. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've never owned a business before. I wasn't sure. I mean, certain things I knew what I was getting into, but then it also came with the pressure of keeping a much loved institution in Pittsburgh alive, and obviously not everyone is going to be pleased, just like it's going to happen, but it was probably a little stressful at the beginning. As far as the logistics, I mean, that wasn't too bad because I'd worked for Jerry for almost 10 years, and I kind of had a pretty good idea of like, okay, how do I buy records, and accounting, I had someone that I inherited from him, and so a lot of the logistics stuff we were able to that was more a little easier to navigate, but it was the other, any changes I did make would be the part that maybe, again, like you said, you can't please everyone, so.
Yeah. Okay, and what would you say is the best part of the job?
I mean, I don't know, several things. I mean, obviously the people that come in, there's, I spend probably more time than other people, other employees with, like, just talking to people, because it's like, but that's part of the business. You have to, like, but the people that come in, just making people happy as far as music stuff. It's like somebody looking for a record forever and finally finding it, and just being like ecstatic.
That's probably really nice to see.
Yeah, it's great. And then just like honestly going through records, finding things that you've never seen before. I mean, at this point it happens less and less, but there's still the odd collection where you find some pretty interesting stuff, and there's still that excitement of being a record collector. That doesn't, just because I own the business doesn't mean I'm not, like, also still a collector and someone who enjoys finding, like, crazy stuff, odd stuff, So, probably doing, looking at collections and, the people in the place, and just, I don't know. I mean, I feel very fortunate, I mean, to be working in, something I love. Like, I've always loved music,
cool
and it's, so, yeah.
All right. Random question, but tell me about your best live music experience.
Oh, man. So, I don't know. The one I'm thinking of, I guess one of my favorite shows I went to was, and it's a big show. I've mostly gone to smaller shows in my life. One of the larger shows that I went to was the Dio with, or Black Sabbath with Dio, the Heaven and Hell tour. It was maybe like 2004 or 5 or something like that.
Okay.
That was pretty awesome. I mean, I was able to get like, it was just standing room, so I was able to get like, 5 feet away from Dio, and
That is really cool.
I don't know. I've always loved him as a singer. I don't know. So that was probably one of the better ones. I mean, other than that, I mean, honestly, just like countless like basement shows or small venue shows of like local bands. I mean, sometimes those are the best. It's just like, I mean, back in Minneapolis, there was, bands like Skull Kodiak and stuff that were just great. I mean, intimate shows with just everyone right there.
I'm a big fan of the
So
local band shows.
right, and like honestly, that I think to this day that Black Sabbath with Dio was the most I spent on a show, and it was $50. So, which is,
Wow, that's
I
not
mean,
bad.
no, it's not. I mean,
Wow.
now you hear about like Rolling Stones, it's gonna cost you like $400. It's just like holy crap.
There'll
But
probably still be nosebleed seats.
yeah, I know, right?
Oh my
It's
gosh.
nuts.
This place has had some pretty notable customers over the years, such as Robert Plant, right?
Yeah.
So, have you ever been starstruck by somebody that came into the store?
So I haven't been here. I wasn't here when Robert Plant was here. I don't know if he's been in here multiple times, but I know he was here. I think these all happened while I worked here. I just happened to not be here. I've been pretty unlucky in that regard. I think I was here once when Ben Folds came in. He used to come in all the time, or at least whenever he was touring.
Oh yeah, I have that written down too.
Probably honestly, and this is kind of Tom Kenny,
Okay.
who it's funny because apparently he's the voice of SpongeBob, right? So he's
Okay.
like the main voice act. He voices SpongeBob in that show. But I knew him from Mr. Show, the old like David Cross, Bob Odenkirk HBO skit comedy program from the 90s, and like I love that show, and he was on there.
Yeah.
So I recognized him from that, and I was
my
like,
gosh.
wait, are you the dude from Mr. Show? And then it was awesome. I mean, he's very knowledgeable about music. I think he plays in bands and
that's
stuff.
awesome.
But yeah, he was, I don't know, honestly, that was kind of like, I felt pretty, like, like starstruck or whatever. But we ended up talking and stuff. He signed this VHS tape and stuff, and I don't know, it was pretty cool. But
So in 2010, Rolling Stone named you guys one of the best record stores in America. So why do you think that you guys are one of the best record stores?
I think we stand out because, I mean, let's just put it this way, we are one of the largest used only record stores. So all we have is used inventory. Like obviously I think Amoeba, probably has a bigger stores or bigger floor space and all that stuff, but they do new and used, and then plus all the CDs and all the other stuff. So currently, before this room is opened, I think we're the largest vinyl only record store, at least in the eastern half of the country. So and we carry everything, and I mentioned that before, but I think that's one of the, because most record stores nowadays are kind of like boutique shops where it's just like they might have 500 square feet in which to shop, and when you have that kind of limited space, obviously you're not going to bother stocking like K-Star records, right? Because like what once in a blue moon somebody comes in and asks, where's your Andrew sisters, so it's like it makes sense that these smaller stores don't stock that stuff, but I think that's what that's why I take pride in this place, because we carry all of it. I mean, like we even have polka records, we even have like opera, right? I mean, opera does not sell, it just doesn't. Easy listening, big band, all that kind of stuff is just like, it's not hot selling stuff, but we have the floor space for it. What else am I gonna? It's not like I'll ever have enough Led Zeppelin records to take up all these shelves that we have. So, yeah, I like that we carry everything and we maintain the sections. Everything's pretty well organized.
Yeah.
I take pride in the appearance of the store and how we, are able to keep such a huge inventory relatively well organized. So I think that, I think those are the things that kind of maybe set us apart.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what is your process for recommending records to people? Like if somebody asks, they come in and they're like, give me something. What what kind of questions do you ask? Or do you ask any questions? Or
That's a good question, but a tough one. And that's a super hard thing to deal with, right? When people come in and, because it's a very, I don't know. Yeah, I would say this, it would be easier if everything was at our disposal, right? And that's what makes it difficult, because when somebody comes in and asks, oh, do you have Leonard Cohen, for example, or something, and we'd be like, oh, doesn't look like, and then you try and think of something else, but then the other things you think of, you're like, well, crap, we probably don't have that either, or we don't have, you know what I mean? Because a lot of that stuff just flies out the door, so like with a used only store, it's just like inventory is like changing so quickly, and the stuff that everyone wants is just so in demand that it just goes quickly, you know what I mean? So then you're struggling to be like, okay, well, what do we have that might be similar? So that part's kind of difficult, but and sometimes I throw it to someone else who might be a little more, somebody comes to ask me about hard rock stuff or metal or I have a pretty good knowledge of most genres, but if somebody comes to ask me for big man recommendations, I'm gonna give them to Fran. Like Fran is the man for that, because he's like an encyclopedia of that kind of stuff. So it's what I mean. But yeah, that's probably, believe it or not, one of the more difficult things with the used place is like what can you come up with instead of the thing they ask for. Yeah, that's probably and I remember even Jerry, like that's probably one of the harder things with the record store is like trying to come up with suggestions and have it be something that you have. Yeah. It's probably easier for places that sell new stuff, I think, but yeah.
Yeah, probably. Okay, and what would you say do you have anything that you'd like to say to somebody that listens to this podcast and decides, I want to go to Jerry's for the first time?
Sure. Have time. Set aside time. Because we have a giant inventory. It's a great place. A lot of people come from all over the place. I mean, we have people come from overseas even. So yeah, it's, and there's, again, stuff like best-selling, like classic rock stuff, it sells quickly. We get it in all the time, but for more, our rock section is giant. I mean, there's, our jazz, we have a whole room of jazz. We have a whole room of classical. I mean, as long as all you want is not just Led Zeppelin and Pink Floyd, which, again, you might, but there's a whole store of stuff to explore. And, yeah, I would say save some time. I mean, like, some people come in and spend 2-3 days in here, because it's just,
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, there's
I feel like you could probably spend the rest of your life in here.
I mean, there's stacks on stacks, and I haven't even, there's stuff I'm still surprised to find in here sometimes, you know what I mean? Or just like, I feel like I've seen a lot of records over the years. I feel like I've seen most records, but every once in a while I still see stuff where I'm like, well, that's the first time I always wonder what Jerry was like, because he's probably seen everything under the sun, but there, every once in a while there'd be ones that he would, be amazed with. I guess as time goes on, that's probably the thing that gets to be the exciting thing, is like, as it gets harder and harder to see something new, you get that much more surprised when you see it.
Yeah, I guess the moment becomes more special.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a mecca. Come if you're in the religion of records, come to do the pilgrimage to Jerry's at some point in your life.
Yeah. Oh, I'm glad I did. And that's all I've got for you today, guys. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I hope it makes you want to visit Jerry's Records in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Make sure to like or follow Records Near Me on your favorite listening platform so you can stay updated. Until next time. And for those of you wondering how an amateur like me can randomly decide to make a podcast, I've been using Anchor by Spotify. It's the easiest way to make a podcast with everything you need all in one place. Let me explain. Anchor has tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. And when hosting on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcast, everywhere. And it's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. Best of all though, Anchor is totally free. So if you want to make a podcast like me, just download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.